Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Daniel James, and if you're new here, welcome. Today I want to talk about why we abandon the things that get us into a good place. Now this comes off the back of some amazing calls that I had earlier on in the week. I had 2 calls back to back, and this whole process, this whole conversation came up in both of these chats. And it's something that's prevalent throughout life, not just when it comes to the mindset and mental health aspects, whether it comes to success in business, relationships, whatever it is. What tends to happen is that we get ourselves into this dark place. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be your rock bottom, but you get into a place where you're not happy, you realize that things aren't in the place that you want them to be, and then you start to implement some changes. Now, these changes that you implement could be as simple as a morning and evening routine. It could be maybe adding in some journaling because you've heard that journaling is a really good thing to help get you out of this bad place. It could be you start to exercise again. Maybe you'll try meditation, or it could even be that you get off social media for a prolonged period of time. But whatever it is, you implement these changes and then things start to get better. And as things start to get better, you slowly start to drop the practices that got you into that good place in the first place. And the analogy I use with this is like saving money or getting yourself out of debt. So whether you've ever saved a large amount of money for a holiday, for example, or you've had some debt you've had to pay off, the thinking behind it is that I'm not where I need to be, so I'm going to do some stuff, in this case it's saving, paying off the debt, to get me to where I want to be. So in the saving example, like you don't go out for the lavish coffees, you kind of pull back on certain things, and over time you save up a good amount of money. And then what happens is you stop saving the money. You go on holiday, you spend the money, you maybe get yourself into a bit of debt, and you come back and you're back to square one again. Rather than carrying on the principle that you applied before holiday to save that money. Or when it comes to debt, each month you're putting away, I don't know, £100, £150, and you're just paying off that debt. And then you pay the debt off, and then you think, wow, amazing, I've got an extra £150 to spend each month. Rather than carrying on putting that same money aside and just letting it sit there and build up and build up and build up, or investing it so that it compounds. But either way, it's the same principle. You've done something to get you out of an undesirable situation. You've got the result that you want, and then you stop doing the thing that got you there in the first place, when actually that's the time to double down. And the analogy that you may have heard me use multiple times on this podcast is it's about the castle. The time to build the defences for the castle is not when it's being attacked. When the castle's being attacked, you're just trying to hold steady. Yes, you're doing things to kind of make it a bit robust so it doesn't completely collapse. But the time to actually build the defences stronger is when the castle isn't being attacked. Just like with your mindset and your mental health. The time to actually double down on this stuff is when you're not being attacked. It's doubling down on the routines that got you in a good headspace so that next time you do get attacked, the same stimulus doesn't start to knock you off course. So it takes more because you've got this good solid foundation. Now, the reason why this happens, because we can all sit there and be like, yeah, I do that too. But why do we do it? Now, when we're in these tough times, these stressful situations, the body releases cortisol. Now, you may have heard of cortisol. It's that stress hormone. You've got that fight or flight response. Basically, cortisol gets right. It's in the stress response and it's like, right, I don't like this. Got to do something. Now, when we're in this heightened state, caused by cortisol, it then means we're more receptive to new information. So the cortisol's gone up. It's an ancient primitive thing that we've got, this hormone. And it's like you're about to be attacked by a lion or something. Cortisol goes up, you're on high alert, and you're thinking, I need to get out of this situation. So what happens is you're very open to new ideas. Maybe ideas you've not really thought of before because you're like, I'm in some real trouble here. Like, I need to start getting myself out. I've never thought about that before, but yes, that might do. Let's try it. And the more receptive you are because you're in this survival state, the more new things that you try. And when you do these new things, you then create new neural pathways. Now, neural pathways sound really fancy, but the way that I get people to imagine this is, it's like you're walking down a path and you walk down the same path for years. That's a neural pathway. And if you're trying to forge a new path, that's like forging a new neural pathway. So the moment that you walk down a new route, the grass starts to get pushed aside and flattened down. That's a new neural pathway. Now, if you just walk down that path once, nothing happens. But during this time when you're struggling, like again, you're saving money, so you're paying off your debt, or you're doing the exercise, you're doing the morning routines, whatever it is, you've done that neural pathway once, and then you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. because by you doing it, you're actually moving yourself towards the desired results. And as you start to do this, and you start to see things change, you start to notice this new pathway working, because you're doing this new routine, this exercise, or you're saving the money, whatever it is, you start to get hit with dopamine. Now, dopamine is that feel-good response. So you get hit with this, and because you're starting to see a positive change, it means that you become less motivated because you're now not being chased by that tiger. You're not worried about it. Because dopamine's hit and you're feeling good, you're kind of thinking to yourself, don't really need to do that anymore. There's no point. That motivation then dwindles, and because it dwindles, that path then starts to overgrow. And you go back down the old path, which is really worn and really easy because it's the path of least resistance. So you've all heard that saying, the path of least resistance. That's why. Again, it's the path it's the easiest path to walk down, rather than keep walking down this path that you're now not motivated to walk down. So what are some practical steps that we can take to ensure that once we get ourselves out of this place that's undesirable into a place that is more desirable, that it sticks? Well, the first thing is to start to cultivate discipline. Because this whole thing about motivation, what happens is we don't feel motivated, and then we start to debate with ourselves, start to have conversations in our head like, can't bother to do that today. We start to compromise. We need to start to have this no compromise mentality, meaning that you don't negotiate with yourself. You don't compromise on this new standard. This thing you're doing has helped you. That's a new standard. So when you start to have the conversation in your head, you don't compromise with yourself. You don't negotiate with yourself. Because once you start to negotiate with yourself, you then make it easier next time to negotiate and get you out of it. So we need to build discipline. And discipline is doing the things you know you need to do when you don't feel like doing them. And how do you build discipline? By doing the stuff that you don't want to do. By not negotiating with yourself and doing it anyway, even if you don't feel like doing it. Even if you don't feel like you need to do it. So I feel great today. I don't need to exercise. I'm feeling really good. Don't do your journal. Do it anyway. That is discipline. Showing up and doing the stuff that you know you need to do when you don't feel like doing it. And then also create a list of successful things that you do, like a success inventory, and list out all the practical things that have helped pull you through those difficult times. Because when we're in a good headspace, we can kind of forget. Then what happens is it's like, what did I do last time? I was in that dark space when I was feeling a bit stuck. But if you've got this success inventory, and again, it could be something as simple as, weekly meal prep, or you started to do a 6 a.m. workout, or you had an accountability partner, you can realize, oh, wow, I've let that slip. Oh, I've let that slip. Oh, I've not contacted, not contacted Jane, my accountability partner. Oh, no wonder I'm not feeling great. Because once you've got the list of things, the inventory of things that make you feel good, you can realize, oh, wow, I've stopped doing three out of the 4 things. Cool. Well, good job on still doing the one thing, but the other 3 things, can we start to implement them again? So it gives you that idea and that framework to work with. So we've got the building discipline. We've got having the little inventory of things so we can keep track of it. And then the final one that builds on that is having a monthly audit or check-in with yourself. So each month, just check in. How are you feeling? Are you feeling good? And if you are feeling good, just have a look back at that inventory. Are you feeling good because you're still doing the stuff that you know makes you feel good? If you're not feeling so great, have a look back at that inventory. Is it because you've stopped doing some of the stuff? And start to check in with yourself. Because the problem is we don't hold ourselves accountable. And it's all well and good having an accountability partner, but we need to start holding ourselves accountable. So having an alarm on your phone, maybe the last Sunday or the last Friday of the month, and just spend even 30 minutes just checking in. Hey, how am I doing this month? How have I been this month? Actually, do you know what? I've started to notice I'm feeling downhill again. Oh, is any wonder? I've only worked out once in the last 3 weeks. Oh, right, okay. Need to get back on that. Right. How am I going to get back on that? So don't just recognize, I need to do that. Put action steps in place. Okay, I'll do this to make sure that I can start working out again. All these little steps slowly build up, and the small things become the big things. One thing I want to finish on quickly is my new newsletter. If you take any value from this podcast and you want to have me pop into your inbox every Sunday morning to give you a morning coffee prompt, along with other helpful things to keep you improving on your self-improvement journey, click on the link down below. It's completely free. I'm not going to spam you with any unnecessary information. It's all there to help you grow through your journey. And as always, if you've taken any value from this episode, don't forget to like it down below. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, feel free to leave us a review. It massively helps with the algorithm. But until next time, take it easy.